Hey everyone, Blugoblin here on behalf of Dark Avenger Inc. I am here to do something that I have been promising to do for the past several months. And I apologize for taking so long to do this. And how appropriate the book that I'm reviewing took so long to get out. This was a book that was 2 decades in the making. Yes, I am finally here to review Marv Wolfman and George Perez's new Teen Titans Games original graphic novel. I gotta say, I got this when it first came out back in 2011. And this was, a graphic novel event over 2 decades in the making. This was meant to celebrate the 30th anniversary of the Wolfman Perez run of the new Teen Titans that started in the early 80s. And the main the advertisements said that this was 2 decades in the making plus, and a lot of fans were thinking once this book came out, would it be worth the wait? Now, for me, as a diehard Wolfman Perez Teen Titans fan, I have to say, yes, it was. It was definitely worth the wait. Now, I know this book isn't exactly new, but I'm still going to be courteous and not give everything away. So this book is going to contain minor spoilers at best. I'm not even going to give away the main plot of the book because I respect Wolfman and Perez's Teen Titans so much. I don't want to ruin anything. But I want to tell you what the basic backbone of the basics of what you get here. Now, in my brutally yet humble, honest opinion, this was not the cover's kind of messed up. This was not the best written story from Marv Wolfman. But it is good for what it is. It is really, really well done. But the problems that I have with this book is basically mainly just nitpicks at the very best. I mean, I loved the lineup they used. Now, one thing I will minorly spoil is that this takes place after the Judas Contract story. Because they establish in here that Tara's dead. So no Tara, because she's not here anymore. This means it obviously took place after the Judas Contract story. And it obviously also takes place during the second volume of Wolfman and Perez's run. Because Dick Grayson is Nightwing. We still got my darling Starfire. You got Raven in the white costume. So they've obviously tussled with Trigon a couple of times. You got Beast Boy, Mullet, sold separately. Victor Stone, Cyborg, in the Teen Titans where he should be. I don't like what they're doing with Cyborg in the New 52, automatically putting him in the Justice League. And he was now, according to DC, he was never a Teen Titan. Hell, none of these people in the New 52 were ever Teen Titans now. And that's bullshit. Pardon my French. You got Donna Troy in probably her ugliest costume, the Troya outfit. I hated it then, I hate it now. You got Jericho, who was a decent character. I didn't mind Jericho. I hated what Sean McKeever did to him in the later Titans books, but the original development of Jericho as a character wasn't really that bad. And then you got Danny Chase. The telekinetic brat who is a pure egotistical butthead. I mean, probably one of the most egotistical characters I've seen in comic books. Now, another thing I need to point out about this book is that it reads a little more modern than a Wolfman Perez book in the 80s did. because, you know, I guess they had to modify it a little bit for new readers, because back in the good old days of this book, of this series, you know, there would be thought bubbles and a lot more. There's no thought bubbles in here, and there is some boxed in narration dialogue that you see a lot in comic books, and not that much, but in the original days, the narration boxes and the thought bubbles were plentiful, but instead of dragging the story down, it added to the story. It kept you involved in the story, and it kept you emotionally connected to the characters. At least it did that for me. But the minor tweaking to the style of storytelling, I didn't mind so much. The story is basically a stereotypical race against time story, in which the main villain of the story knows everything about the Titans, both inside and out. Knows their identities, knows who they are, knows what they do, knows who they work with, you know, knows all their loved ones, all their friends, their family, knows everything. And they use that against, and the villains use that against the Titans. And it's basically, overall, in a nutshell, this story basically pushes the theme of the story is how big is the Titans' boiling point? How far can you push these characters till they say, that's it, I ain't having this no more? And when do they finally start to lose focus on what it is to be a good hero? You know, it's basically like that. It's not the best written story from Wolfman, but what really helps it is George Perez's wonderful, wonderful artwork. I'd like to show you a little glimpse in here without spoiling too much. Oh no, that would spoil. Hang on. Let me find a good picture, good couple of pages, you know, that wouldn't spoil the book. Now, when I originally said I was going to review this book, I made the mistake of saying that Jason Todd's Robin was in the story. I was wrong. It's Tim Drake Robin, but still wearing the original costume. Trying to find a... And okay, I can show you this. Get a look at Starfire. I mean, now that is Starfire. I just love everything about this. I know I'm taking too long here, but the stuff in here is just fantastic. Can't get enough of this. I love this. Like I said, it's not the best written story in the world, but what really helps sell the book is the wonderful artwork. I just gave you an incy bitty little peek at the artwork. Read this book and get a load of the artwork. It is just as good now as it was back then. Now, there are some, you can tell there's probably some parts of the original plot in there, but this story was stopped and canceled and halted back and delayed so many times that by the time we finally got to the finished product, there was a lot of tweaking and a lot of rewriting in here. But after you read the story, there's an interesting section at the back of the book that tells you what the original plot was supposed to be, and it adds to the spark of rereadability when you get a hold of this. Based on artwork, I give it a solid 5. The artwork is fantastic. Based on storytelling, I give it a 4. Yeah, I'll give it a 4 based on storytelling. Now, another thing I will say, okay, like I said before, there is no Terra. There's no Wally West. Wally West makes an appearance near the end of the story. I'll go ahead and spoil that. But there's, like, Wally West maybe appears in like 2% of the book, and it's at the very end. So any Wally West fans out there will probably be disappointed. There's no Speedy. There's no Aqualad. It's basically the team up. It's basically the team that you see on the cover. That's who you get. If you didn't like this particular lineup, then maybe you wouldn't enjoy this book as much as I did. But I really honestly believe any die-hard old school fan of the Marv Wolfman George Perez run of the new Teen Titans from the 80s, I think any fan of that particular run will truly enjoy this book. This was very well done. It's not the best written in the world, but for what it was good. Another thing I will clue you in on is that there are some casualties in here. There are some shocking moments. There's some near the end of the story, the storytelling gets a little goofy yet creepy at the same time. And the way the story is written and the way the artwork meshes with the storytelling, it actually works. When we finally see the main threat near the end of the story, it is just weird. I mean, weird. But you can't. It's one of those things that. It's one of those weird twists that pulls you in and makes you want to keep reading on. It's very well done. So I gave the storytelling a 4. I gave the artwork a 5. So I'll even it out and give the book overall a 4.5 out of 5. An awesome read. Now I'm sure a lot of people's opinions are not going to match mine. And I'll say this. I really believe that this was written more for us old school fans, us old school comic geeks who grew up in this time period, who remembered reading these books when we were children. This was good. I think new readers might appreciate this, just probably not as much as us old schoolers. But that's just my opinion. If your older brother or if your parents had some of the Wolfman Perez stuff, I recommend reading that. Get acquainted with the Wolfman Perez run of the new Teen Titans. I would recommend primarily the first volume rather than the second volume, but both volumes were great. Get yourself acquainted with those, and then give this book another look, and maybe you'll change your opinion on it if you didn't like it so much. Like I said, this particular book's not going to be for everybody. But it has a charm to it that I think has stood the test of time. So, was this worth waiting 2 decades for? For me, I honestly say yes, it was. Do yourselves a favor. If you get this, if you see this at any store, I think it's worth buying. I'll go ahead and say it. I really think it's worth buying. If you're a Teen Titans fan, I think you'll love it. That's pretty much all I got to say. And I think I'm going to read it again as soon as I turn the camera off. Alright. I want to thank you all for watching this review, everybody. Please subscribe to Dark Avenger Inc. You won't regret it, I promise you. Don't forget my channels, my student, the Mount Vernon Kids channels, Mark and Chloe at Fat Stack of Comics, my friend Deadpoolzilla, everybody at Dark Avenger Inc. Follow Dark Avenger Inc. on Facebook. Follow me on Twitter or on Tumblr. Follow Inc. on Twitter. Follow everybody! Thanks for watching this very special yet late review. Until next time, everybody, I'll see you all later.